Hello and welcome to the Healthy Half Hour podcast. We are your hosts, Richard and Karen Inslee.
Our goal with the Healthy Half Hour podcast is to be a resource in your toolbox for all things diet, exercise and healthy lifestyle related.
We'll be sharing our personal insights and experiences alongside research gathered from working in the health and fitness industry for over the last 12 years.
The show is brought to you by Sunnyside Honey Pot, all things honey related. So if you want to check out things that we make from our bees, their wax and their honey, you go to sunnysidehoneypot.com, and also please feel free to visit the healthyhalfhourpodcast.com as well.
And without further ado, let's get on to today's show.
Hi everybody. So, I think what we've been doing, we actually got to go golfing last weekend.
You didn't say we're back.
I know.
Oh, it's pretty obvious we're back.
Yeah, because we won't be talking if we weren't.
So. You always say we're back.
Yeah, I thought I'd do something different today.
Wow.
So, we actually got golfing with friends last weekend, and I don't know whether it was the dust and the dry grass or whatever on the golf course, but I've ended up with a sore throat most of the week, so I don't have the lurgy, but I...
Well, we went and stayed at their cabin for the weekend too, so I mean, it was unseasonably warm, which was really nice, and then it went cool on Sunday afternoon. The winds really picked up.
It was supposed to be, 90-kilometre winds or something?
Yeah, it was really... and then we had a cool Monday evening, cool Tuesday evening, so I covered some stuff in the garden, hopefully trying to preserve it, and some of it seems to be okay, but I thought, we might have a couple of weeks now of +5s and +6s at night, and now they're saying Sunday night is supposed to be cold again, so probably a waste of time, but yeah, well.
You filled the hot tub up yesterday, so that's exciting news.
That's true, so we're just trying to get that warm at the minute. It's a wood-fired hot tub, so I have to keep going out every 45 minutes or so and putting more wood onto the fire to get it going, so the initial warm-up takes a while. I mean, it's nice outside, it's probably 18 degrees, so it won't take long to warm up, but it's still something you can't leave for a while, otherwise it doesn't happen. So
we talk fast and then go and put some more wood on it.
And then go and put some more wood on it, yeah. So we've finished all the bees and everything now, so we had the final tally of 435 pounds of honey this year, so
which was 100 pounds more than last year.
So all the girls did super well, so now we're feeding them. We've got buying bags of sugar and mixing it with water at the right ratio, and they're now backfilling the hives for winter feed. And a lot of people jump up and down, it's not the same as honey and everything else, but I was listening to a webinar at the beginning of the year, and it was the local university entomologist was talking on there, and he was saying, in studies that have been done, he said as long as you're not using high fructose corn syrup and rubbish like that, then natural cane sugar and beet sugar is fine. And it's the sucrose and the fructose and the glucose combination, when mixed with water, the bees don't mind it at all, and it's just a great energy source for them at the right amount of each. So yeah, he says don't mess with it. He says obviously you're going to leave a little bit of honey in there from the summer, which we do. We don't pull out of our brood boxes where the queen lives and take every piece of honey out of there. We do leave them what they've put in there, and any pollen they've put in there too for the winter. So yeah, we're on that at the minute and trying to backfill them up, and hopefully we'll get them all nice and heavy towards the end of this month, and we should have a good winter.
But we look like bloody crafters who are making jam in the superstore, because we're buying all these bags of sugar, and then obviously crafters who are making jams and baking because of COVID, they basically are raping the shelves of the sugar and stuff.
And there's not a lot in there.
Yeah, so we're having to go in and grab what we can. And
it's I went on Wednesday and I bought six 2-kilo bags, and I put it all in, and I went back Thursday and checked, and they'd sucked the lot up. So we've been and bought.
Yeah, I bought 6 more today.
6 more today. So yeah, I'll put that in later today or first thing in the morning, and they'll.
So I look like a jam maker when I'm going through the checkout.
That's all right. It's not a bad look. So today's podcast, we're just going to answer a couple of questions. We've had these two in the inbox for a little while. How bad? Probably in August time. So apologies for getting to them when we got to them. But we've, again, just been busy with the yard and we had to finish the sleep one off last time. So we're going to tackle them one at a time, but there may be a couple of overlaps in each one. So the first question was from Alicia. And she said, question, I found your podcast and I'm listening to it from the beginning. Oh, good girl. She had her gallbladder removed 2.5 years ago, and she was told, I don't know by who, but to keep food in her stomach due to the constant trickle of bile, and because there's nowhere to store it, because obviously that's what the gallbladder does. However, since that has happened, she's gained almost 15 to 20 pounds, and
since the gallbladder removal.
Since the gallbladder removal, and again, she's been eating 3 meals a day and 2 mini snacks a day. And she says, oh, by the way, I'm over 40. So, who's going?
Well, who told her to keep food in her stomach? That's just a weird one. But we're looking at the question saying the 3 meals and 2 snacks a day is like bodybuilders' diet that wants to actually, bodybuilders want to gain mass, not lose it.
Yeah, right? But that again, that tends to be like we've said before, it's a marketing deal. The whole two mini snacks and the 3 meals a day has been a marketing thing to sell more food to you. And again, there's allegedly it was alleged originally that it was to keep your metabolism burning all the time. And as we've said time and time again, whether you eat 1 meal, 2 meals, 3 meals a day doesn't really make a difference. And it's when you start adding more than that in, it's very, very easy to start to overeat and start to have too many calories in your diet. Again, especially depending on what those snacks are as well, because a lot of things tend to be carb based. And again, that sugar overload can keep spiking that insulin, and that just leads to more and more problems. And with like they say, the 3 meals and 2 snacks, I mean, Alicia doesn't actually say what she's been eating, but why? I mean, the gallbladder removal only affects fat digestion. It doesn't affect the digestion of carbs or protein. So why you'd have to keep all of the 3 macronutrients in there at all the same time, I don't know. And that small drip of bile, big deal. I mean, really, with the only thing with initially with the gallbladder removal is just how much fat you have in your diet.
And some people handle it really well, but I mean, it's sometimes a tolerance level. My hairdresser had hers emergency surgery actually, and she says the one thing that irritates her since having it out is yogurt.
Yeah, so it's the the dairy fat in the in there, and that's probably what's something that doesn't sit well with her. And like Karen
says, she found it out by trial and error as well. So she said, like, oh, okay. I was like told to obviously manage my diet, and like obviously, like the doctors don't usually get trained in nutrition or anything, but with regard to just trial and error, see what foods sit well with you, because we know people who've had the gallbladder removed, but fat's not an issue to them.
No, and just as a sideline on that one, I've got a friend of ours, and she does listen to the podcast, and her daughter had a really a bad colitis attack, and I mean, she's late teens or 20 now, I think her daughter is, and she was in hospital. She literally couldn't keep anything inside her, and it was coming out of both ends. Even,
a bit like food poisoning.
Even water or even like spit saliva she was swallowing wouldn't stay in there. They basically managed to sort her out, and on Monday she texted me and said, oh, I'm here at lunchtime and you'll never guess what they're feeding her. And I said, well, what? And she said, chicken fingers and fries. And I said to her, I says, that's the disconnect between the health system and your health. So, I mean, even in a colitis ward where, I mean, you've got to be so careful with what you're putting into your stomach because of the gut issues you can have, they're just feeding them regular crap. So, again, that's just as an aside. But back to Alicia's question. Again, like Karen said, some people tolerate better than others. So it really, the only thing I would say with it is just trial and error with your fats. Some people may do better with more saturated fats, and some people may do better with a little more PUFAs or basically, or no fat at all, or very low fat, and then you've got to ease those fats back in. You'll just end up with a stomach ache or greasy stools or stuff, or you'll feel like malabsorption because, again, things will go straight through you because you're not breaking that fat down with the bile.
And like I say, without her actually saying what was incorporated in those 3 meals and 2 snacks, it's difficult to give her concrete information. But I mean, like you said, maybe the 15 to 20 pounds weight gain that she's seen could be, just like you say, maybe processed foods in the form of those snacks and just too high calories.
So yeah, I mean, off the bat, I would say obviously it's been a while now, and more often than not, once your body's been changed over like that, and your body will get used to that fat absorption. She still may have those absorption issues, and again, she can always shoot us an email back or a message back and let us know. And I would say we'll just cut it down to probably 2 to 3 meals a day and just eat that, like I say, balanced whole food diet.
And something like the protein sparing modified fast that you've got on your website, I mean, that might actually just help her initially. I mean, one, it's a lower calorie, so she'll hopefully drop a few pounds, but it's kind of very protein focused, moderate carbs, but the lower fat, isn't it? Oh,
extremely low fat. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to keep it that low, but again, it might just give your body a break and give you somewhere to start, and again, starting from that base 0. So the other question we had was from Karen. And she said, it's a bit of a longer question. She said, I'm curious about something. Growing up, very poor, food choices were limited, as was quality. Breakfast was usually puffed rice, puffed wheat, Rice Krispies or cornflakes, and 99% of the time with powdered milk, as fresh cow's milk was maybe for Christmas or Thanksgiving. Lunch was peanut butter and jam sandwiches and generic white bread with margarine. And I would often have a bowl of Idaho, whatever that is, instant mashed potato, must be a brand, with corn and lots of margarine or white rice and ketchup. Lol.
That's interesting. White rice and ketchup.
Fruit was in the summer. We had lots of fresh cherries, apples and blackberries around. Supper was basic meat, like a really thin pork chop, potatoes, corn and margarine again. And we never had things like broccoli, cauliflower, or other of the good veggies in inverted commas. I was always skinny until I met my husband and lived...
So it's his fault?
I think so. And lived quite remote with his family who cooked well, and every meal had a dessert. Needless to say, I gained a significant amount of weight by the time I was 20. I did manage to lose it within a few years with the help of TOPS, which is the Take Off Pounds Sensibly group. And life goes on, and also I've gained and lost, but never been below that 180 pounds. She says she's currently 214 and age 54. So going back to my first sentence, I'm curious how it is that as an adult I won't be able to lose weight if I went back to my childhood diet. Well, there's an easy answer to that. You're a different person.
Yeah.
So again,
every decade we're a different person.
Yeah, and so metabolically and hormonally and through a lot of different things, 54-year-old you is not the same as 10-year-old you. I mean, if you think of 10-year-old you, I mean, you're growing, you're active, you're running out, you're out with your friends. Like you say, especially growing up in a rural area like that, you were probably out in the creeks and doing tons of different things and active all day, and then you end up at 54 sitting on your butt at work, and again, your metabolism's slowed down naturally by this point. Your hormones have completely changed. You're not growing anymore, we're actually shrinking a little bit. So the 10-year-old you and the 54-year-old you are completely different people, and you have to eat differently for your age and gender.
And also, Karen doesn't share whether or not she's actually hit menopause yet. So I know that I hit menopause I'm probably going into my 4th year now, but I mean, I've not had any of the issues with like hot flashes, weight gain, whatever. And I'm kind of breezing through it, which a lot of women like to say, like, oh, that's not fair. But if you're going through menopause as well, that could be contributing. So, like, you know, those like fluctuations in estrogen levels will definitely factor into it. But she doesn't say whether or not she's in menopause, but it's something to consider.
I'd certainly consider blaming your husband as well. I mean, that's certainly a good one.
Yeah.
The other thing that jumps out at me with this question is like when she says life goes on and weight was gained and lost and gained and lost. And in my experience, again, over the last kind of 10, 12 years working with people, I've had clients and they change their diet, they go on a whole food diet and they make they exercise a little bit more and they'll lose 20, 30 pounds and then feel great. And then something happens, or maybe a bereavement, or just the wheels fall off for some reason, work stress or something else. And they kind of gain maybe 20 back. And then I get the phone call back again. Oh, I've put some of that weight back on. Can we do what we did last time? We do what we did last time and it doesn't work. And I've seen it time and time again where people lose the weight initially. Then we go back and do the same deal, and literally nothing happens, nothing moves. And we really have to try to force it in a way by doing different things, because the body either got used to what it was, or I don't know. I don't really know what the answer is to that. So sometimes, again, especially now, if I start with somebody, I often reiterate time and time again that this is a one-time deal, because the more you keep, like, say, yo-yoing, the harder it's going to be every time to kind of come back to that weight you'd like to be. So again, it's not really a ray of hope, I guess, but I mean, Karen, you just got to work a little bit harder this time and just kind of make sure that this time is the last time.
Yeah, and like you say, we're different people every decade, and like you say, as kids, metabolically, we have that advantage. I mean, in your 20s, I mean, yeah, you could usually eat whatever you wanted, and then obviously that train comes into the siding.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And so, I mean, and I've said on a previous podcast that between October, November, and kind of to May, I gained about 7 pounds, and I'm a small frame, and 7 pounds looks a lot on me because I'm short with that small frame. So, and I've thought, well, what can I do to kind of like pull it back again? And mine was like stress focused, like things going on in our lives. So I did the potato diet, which people know about, but one thing I've been doing recently is just slightly smaller portions and actually eating more slowly, not just like shuffling it down me, and just taking my time.
Yeah, and it's worked for you, hasn't it? So I mean,
Well, I lost 10, so I gained 7 and lost 10. So woohoo!
There you go. So yeah, and again, it's like we've said before, and many times, it's not just what you eat; it's stress, it's sleep. There's a whole myriad of different things. And to be honest, if changing your diet and even cutting your calories down and your energy's still good and it's not working for you, again, look at those hormones. I mean, estrogen dominance is one of the worst things you can have for like putting weight on. So I mean, maybe looking at working with a functional doc or somebody that can like just test your sex hormones and just kind of see where you're at. So I mean, maybe trying to balance the progesterone and the estrogen out a little bit, especially if you're on, say, for the female front. But again, that's with men too, and with the guys as well. Obviously, that testosterone makes a big difference. So it may not just be that it's, say, your diet and exercise isn't up to par. It could be a lot of other different things. So rather than, again, keep flogging the same horse, maybe, say, have a look at some different avenues, and maybe we should probably do a podcast on some stuff like that. I know we did initially the reasons why you're not losing weight, which I think is like podcast number 2 or 3. But maybe we should just kind of revisit some of these hormonal changes. And again, those reasons why, like I say, diet and exercise isn't working. So hopefully we got to the bottom of these and may have give Alicia and Karen a little bit more direction to kind of to go at. And obviously they can ping us back at any point and let us know how they're doing, or if Alicia wants to add a little bit more information, and or Karen with her obviously state of her uterus, I was going to say, but that's probably not the right thing to say. But well, she might want to keep that to herself. Who knows?
And basically, we always say, like, if you've got questions, and it doesn't have to be questions relevant to a podcast that we've already done, or you think like, this is just the same question over again. Like, if you've got questions, just throw them at us.
But we are individual, so that question can be individual to you about different things. I mean, like Karen stated there, I mean, she grew up poor food choices, not a lot of money, and kind of, and a lot of people weren't brought up like that. So, I mean, it's different folks, different strokes sort of deal. So, Till next time, we'll sign off, and hopefully we won't be too long because, say, things are slowing down outside, gives us more time inside, and we'll catch up with another podcast soon. See you then.
That's all we have time for today, but we do hope that you join us on our next show. If you'd like to contribute to an upcoming episode with a topic, a question, or even if you'd like to be a guest on our show, then shoot us an email to questions@healthyhalfhourpodcast.com, or you can actually leave us a message on our Facebook or Instagram pages. The Healthy Half Hour Podcast was brought to you by Sunnyside Honey Pot and 7dayshred.com. If you like the show, tell your friends, and if you didn't, tell us and we'll work on it for you. Thanks again for listening.